1 to 2 minutes. So just stand by, everyone. I can see a lot of folks being in the waiting room, so just trying to admit everyone. Hello. I can see bunch more trying to join in the call. All right, Forrest, we'll be going live in the next 1 minute. So yeah.
Great.
Alrighty, let's kick off. Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhack workshop titled How to Deploy a Rollup on Conduit. Joining us today is Forrest, who will be taking us through the session. And with that, I'll pass it over to Forrest to get the workshop started.
Thanks so much, Calvin.
Over to you.
Hey guys, excited to talk to you today. My name is Forrest. I lead business development and growth things here at Conduit. So really excited to demo our platform for you guys today, as well as, riff with you, answer questions, think of some ideas on what you can build. I think the best place to start is on our deployment UI. So if this is the Conduit platform, you can find it at app.conduit.xyz, just on our website. Free to sign up. You just create an email, and then I'll head over here to new deployment. So on this page, like a lot of software platforms, you're going to have an organization name like you would on AWS, and then we can pick a rollup name. So I'm going to call this Superhack 2024. I'll automatically generate a unique chain ID for my chain, and then I can go down here and configure all of my options. So this is kind of the recipe builder UI that we're known for here at Conduit. And I think the way you want to think about all of these three things is they're core decisions of and have big implications for what types of applications or ecosystems you're trying to build. So the first decision you'll make is picking a rollup framework. We support the OP stack and the Arbitrum Orbit stack. Obviously, we'll be sticking with the OP stack for today's presentation. On the settlement layer side, we offer a couple of options. You can think about this as the layer where your Rollup's bridge contracts live and the layer that it ultimately inherits security from. So if my settlement layer is Ethereum L1, I'm a full L2. My bridge contracts live there, just like OP mainnet, just like Base, just like all of these other L2s. But if I were to choose Base as a settlement layer, that means I'm an L3 on top of Base. So maybe my onboarding costs are much cheaper. I can benefit from Base's distribution, but ultimately I inherit kind of the liveness and security assumptions of Base. So you've probably seen or heard of some of these Base L3s that are coming out. Conduit was kind of the first to go demo this out and scope it out for the OP stack and have it ready. But it's an interesting kind of both technical and product placement and marketing decision to make on whether to be an L2 or an L3. I'm happy to riff on this later during the workshop, but we offer a couple of super chain options on the settlement layer side. So you can settle to Base, which is the most popular. We also have some builders who are building L3s on top of Zora and on top of Mode as well, another member of the super chain. But we'll stick with Ethereum L1 because we're talking about super chain things, and that's certainly the main preference for the Optimism super chain. And then lastly, we have this question of data availability. So Alt DA is something that's currently in beta for the OP stack. So ETH blobs is what Ethereum DA means here. You can see this is the same stack that Zora and Mode are using in production. This means your rollup is actively posting these 4844 blobs on Ethereum in that sidecar lane that's separate from Ethereum call data. Now, ETH blobs are very cheap, but during times of congestion or for very high throughput applications, sometimes they're not the best fit. They still come with relatively high settlement costs, and you're posting a lot of data on chain. So there are these awesome alternative DA options like Celestia or like EigenDA or many others that are in development. And Optimism was kind of the foremost stack in terms of adopting these. So we support all of them in production, but to just keep rifling through of our options, we have Then you just choose your testnet or your mainnet environment that you want to go to market with. So today we're obviously going to proceed with a testnet. And for those of you in the Discord channel, we do have a coupon code to get past this $50 month fee, so you can deploy for free as part of Superhack. The code is Superhack 2024, all caps. And then in advanced settings, here are some things I can mess with on testnet. If you have a really, really high throughput application you want to build and you want to adjust the block gas limit, just like Base is doing in production, you can do that through the UI. Or if you want to lower the withdrawal period, so you can deposit and withdraw some testnet ETH much quicker, maybe instead of 7 days, I can lower this down to an hour, right, in seconds. And then from here, you can just see what's included. I'll show you guys all of this on the next screen, but it is a fully featured offering. It's not just a naked rollup. You'll get the full OP Stack testnet with Ethereum DA. It'll come with a built-in block explorer, a transaction tracing tool, and a bridge UI to deposit and withdraw from. It also is just included in all of Conduit's security and monitoring architecture. We run multiple sequencers by default. We have a very cool blog post out about this. The product is called Conduit Elector. It means that when we deploy this rollup, and again, I'll show you the behind the scenes in a moment, there are multiple sequencers running in parallel. So if one goes down, there's another to pick up the tip of the chain and continue with zero downtime. It also enables us to do zero downtime upgrades for OP Stack hard forks. There have already been a few this year. But lastly, we have built-in RPCs. So if I were to continue here, I would just click continue. You can deploy in less than 15 minutes. You have to enter some payment info. We'd enter the coupon code, but I already deployed a rollup right before this. So I just have this demo name here. This is an OP Stack chain. You can see that I have a fully functioning RPC WebSocket endpoint that I can customize in settings, make consistent with my brand. I'll get a version of Block Scout deployed for my chain automatically if I want to go check that out later. And then I get this log stream directly from the UI. So if I peek over at the sequencer, you can see this is the absolute tip of the chain, adding a block every couple of seconds, whether or not there are any transactions. Then my proposer and batcher are what are handling my settlement and data availability transactions. So you get all of your log readouts. You can see when these things are being submitted back to the settlement layer. So this is actually a rollup using Celestia. So you can see there's some interesting logs on the batcher. And then we have a bunch of built-in tools for you here. So you'll have your chain ID, you'll have your slug, your kind of tech stack out here for you. Your native token, if it's all zeros, that just means you're using ETH. And then contract addresses. This is if you want to run a node for your own chain, add it to your MetaMask, right? Having this quick util button. And then we will host the bridge UI for you as well. We partner with Superbridge, who's a big friend of the super chain. They run the bridge for Base. They run Superbridge that has all of the super chain chains included, and will stand up kind of a free UI for your rollup just through Superbridge. And you'll also have a transaction tracing tool. So it's super I hope what I'm making clear is that it's super easy to get up and started and have your own rollup on Conduit just in a matter of seconds. And what's really exciting is that the work doesn't stop there. Deployment is just kind of where working together begins. And Conduit really manages a lot of this for you. So you can see like you have a sequencer, proposer, batcher, replica that you'd have to all stand up in the cloud on your own, as well as an explorer, an RPC, a WebSocket. So for $50 a month, or in Superhack Hacker's case for free, for a couple of months, you can get your own like production ready testnet environment with everything that you need. So then you can build anything on top of it, which I think is what makes things really exciting. So I'll show off just a couple more tabs here and we can go into Q&A. So we've got a metrics tab for you if you want to monitor your TPS, your blocks, average gas fee, all of these fun things. We're actually rebuilding this UI right now. So you can see that the testnet costs of my batcher is costs are starting to add up. You can see my proposer costs. Looks like there was a lot of traffic on testnet yesterday, which is why I'm probably getting this spike down. And then on contracts, there are a lot of system contracts for the OP stack. So you can go through here, find links to them all in the Block Explorer, especially for things like the standard bridge. If you're wanting to do something with the NFT bridge, this is a really, really helpful page for people. And then under settings, we have a bunch of things. If you want to enable external nodes, if you want to customize your rollup brand on the Block Explorer, have custom domains, all of this fun stuff you have available for you. But I'd love to also just show off like deployment is kind of the commodity. What we also roll out to people our upgrade. So you can see that this OP Fjord upgrade last month on July 10th, it wasn't just a one-off thing for OP mainnet and base. Conduit is managing these OP stack rollups and superchain rollups at scale. So we roll out the upgrade to over 100 testnets, 20 plus mainnets, all in one day. So there's a lot of automation and hard work that goes into building the Rollup platform. And all that it does at the end of the day is enable awesome builders such as yourselves to stop thinking and battling about infrastructure and battling infrastructure that's already a commodity and already open source, and giving you a platform to scale at the infrastructure and focus on building amazing on-chain applications. So that's where I'll stop. It looks like some people are already firing off in chat, and so I'm going to peek at those. But would love to hear from you guys. Happy to show off anything on the platform, answer questions about rollups, the OP stack, wherever we want to take this. So I'll start with this question from Beth. Is there a way to not enter the credit card, just use the coupon code for the hackathon? Unfortunately not. You have to enter the credit card. We give you guys 2 months for free, so make sure to cancel before then. Unfortunately, it's just a Stripe thing that it has to take billing info before that network's deployed, and then you can cancel it, keep it totally free. We're not trying to charge the hackers here. And then on the second question, we're working on crypto payments right now with a provider. It is actually the same one that Nanar uses. And you'll be able to do fully on-chain subscriptions and things. So hopefully we can get that out this month before the next billing cycle. Unfortunately, it's just not in there today. Great questions though. And sorry for the friction. We're trying to make the billing better as well. How is the gas token handled? I didn't get it. I need to deploy a token and assign the address. Great question, Saeed. So the gas token, if you just go to a faucet, or we can send you some, maybe there's also a superchain faucet as part of the hackathon. You just need Sepolia ETH, and you can bridge that in. So if I show you the bridge I have for this rollup, this is my super bridge page for my testnet OP stack rollup. You can see that I would just bridge in from Sepolia. I'd connect my wallet. And if I have Sepolia ETH already in my wallet from a faucet or from somewhere else, I can do a regular bridging transaction, send it into the rollup. We do have the ability on the OP stack to, if I go back to the deployment page, we do have the ability, if you're using Alt-DA, to have a custom gas token where you would then have to deploy your own. Tony, is my sound working? Can I?
Yeah, it's good. We can hear.
It's good. Okay, I'll keep going. Sorry, Tony, that might be on your side. You do have a custom gas token option, Saeed. So if you want to deploy your own token on Sepolia, so you'd have to deploy it on whatever you choose as the settlement layer, and then you paste in the token address here. It has to be a normal standard ERC20 token. It can't have any crazy custom logic. It does have to be 18 decimals. But you don't have to worry about the gas token by default. Just bring some Sepolia ETH with you that you probably already have in your wallet, and then you'll be able to deposit it through the bridge, start building, start deploying contracts, etc. But if you are wanting to build something with Saeed token or another custom gas token, you can also do that. I didn't see if there's another question we can go into right away. Yeah, keep them coming, guys. These are great. I think one that I'll just hit real quick in the meantime is Optimism as a kind of provider and infrastructure platform runs a lot of the super chains that are out there. So we power Zora, we power Mode Network, we power Metal, Pay, and their awesome kind of banking chain. We run more super chains than anyone, as well as more OP stack chains than anyone. So we really have the automation experience built out here for whatever you want your configuration to be. And again, the message is let us do the handling and the battling on the infrastructure side. You guys get to focus on building on-chain applications with best-in-class infrastructure to back you. Our rollups, this is a good question by Suporno. Are rollups helpful if I need to integrate with few other protocols in my hack? Bridging would make the whole protocol a bit slower and complex, no? I'm trying to understand if I can fit Conduit in my hack. That's a good question. It depends on what other protocols you're looking for. I think there is something to be said for composability. Maybe you're building something that relies on some apps on base Sepolia or OP Sepolia or one of these other networks. But really what we see is rollups are great for applications that need a lot of scale. So for someone like Zora, who can and does live on other shared networks, but ultimately wanted some sovereignty to really accelerate and grow their application, uh, a dedicated rollup made a lot of sense for them. So whether you're building an app chain, whether you're building a dedicated ecosystem, Mode's another great example. They could have had some applications built on other chains, but they had their own kind of go-to-market that they focused on. They onboarded a bunch of liquid staking and liquid restaking platforms and protocols. And they were able to build kind of an isolated environment. So Sephora, it depends on what you're trying to build. Maybe a rollup in that dedicated block space really accelerates you and helps you. Maybe it doesn't, and it's too much friction for what you're trying to build for the hackathon. Great question, though. Can we bridge WETH to the new chain? That's a great question, Meek. You don't have to bridge WETH. You could just bridge ETH, and then the WETH contract will actually be automatically deployed for you through the OP stack as a pre-deploy. So then you can just go ahead and wrap or unwrap on your new chain. So you don't have to worry about WETH. If that's what you have on testnet, I would unwrap it and deposit the native ETH, and then you'll be able to spend the gas token. But it's a good question. On the L2 bridge, if you want to go to mainnet or are willing to spend some money, a lot of Super Bridge's customizations, like adding more tokens to the token list here, are in their premium package. So we have teams who want to add 10 plus tokens or work with something like Super Migrate to add more ERC20 tokens to their rollup. That's all very doable on Super Bridge. Hopefully that answers your question, Meek. Yeah, great question, Saeed. So that's exactly what we're seeing here in the Batcher. So Conduit is handling all of the operations for you up front. The hash and the state and the data of your rollup is being posted to the settlement layer and the data availability layer automatically. So it's totally carefree. This is running in the background. We're the ones operating the infrastructure for you. And you kind of get to focus on the application layer. So you don't have to worry about making any rollup transactions. We have all the automation built out to manage all of this for you for whatever your configuration is. So if you use ETHDA, nope, Conduit handles all of that up front. That's another good one. So he asks, do I have to actively manage the gas or anything for these operations? The answer is no. Again, Conduit's going to handle all of these up front. For testnets, of course, we're just using a bunch of testnet gas. For mainnets, we handle it up front as well. And then our model is kind of a SaaS fee on the infrastructure side and a percentage of the sequencer revenue. So we can scale along with our users. So you don't need to pay for any of the roll-up transactions individually. We handle all of that kind of management transactions on behalf. And we actually send you an accounting email every month that shows every single transaction we posted on your rollup's behalf. I think our users really like it because for someone like Zora, it's millions and millions of transactions. It's really cool. Porno, coming back. Okay, trying to build some yield strategy vaults. So looking at integrating Aave and or Uniswap and maybe more. I guess I have to think about a novel way to use Conduit here. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe building on base Sepolia is easier because some of those protocols are already built. But on your own Conduit rollup, you could go out and deploy those protocols yourself if that's what you're wanting to do and have some yield strategy that kind of benefits from having its own environment. That's often what we've seen people do during hackathons is they deploy a couple protocols on their own rollup and then they can build something on top of that. We're working on ways to make it easier as well, to have some of those default protocols available in the click of a button rather than you having to deploy it yourself. But that's a good question, Sporto. Maybe that app's better on base Sepolia. Maybe you can find a way to make it work on a Conduit rollup. Awesome. So we're just watching our batches being posted here. Beth, one of my favorite questions. Is Reth supported? Not today, but in the future it will be. So we have some test nets running with OP Reth already. For those of you who don't know what Reth is a Ethereum client written in Rust that's kind of developed and funded by the team over the venture capital firm Paradigm. And people are really excited about it because it's an Ethereum client for both L1 and L2s like Optimism that's focused on performance. So different applications, things that need higher gas limits, things that need some low latency kind of services built in. Reth is a very, very exciting breakthrough for. All of the OP stack chains that are live today use Geth as their primary client. That's the way the stack was designed. But interestingly, because Optimism and the OP stack is less than 1,000 lines of code different from L1 Geth, it's very easy to make alternative clients, or relatively easy to make alternative clients for Optimism, especially chains that join the super chain and have the standard configuration. So things like OP Reth are things that we're already testing on testnet, and we want to make generally available in the next couple of months once they reach a level of kind of stability and performance that we're really happy with. But we're very close with the Reth team, and we're very excited about that. We'll pivot over to watching our sequencer logs. Always happy to answer questions, however small they are. We know a lot about the OP stack and the superchain. I guess I can give you guys a tour of some of the rest of the Conduit platform. So what's the best way to easily deploy an OP stack deploy setup? So Meek, if you head over here to the deployment page, it's just app.conduit.xyz/deploy. I think this is the easiest place to do that. So you pick the OP stack as your framework, obviously. If you want, I think for Superchain hackathon, it's best to use Ethereum L1 as your settlement layer and Ethereum DA as your data availability. And then you'd pick testnet and just click continue. So I think that'll be the easiest way to deploy. That's the kind of demo I walked through earlier. I see, okay, so we have some note takers spamming the chat. Beth has another great question. Will there be a mechanism in the future? So if I've changed a component or what we call a customization to the OP stack, can I still use Conduit for testing? The question is, Beth, or the answer is, Beth, we're already doing this today in production. It's just not available in the self-serve UI. So you absolutely can go make changes to the OP stack. If you look in their docs, what they'd call OP stack hacks, you can make changes to the core code, and then Conduit can help run that for you. Usually it's a bit of a manual process, and it is a bit expensive. We generally want to see you get these changes audited, and we want to make sure that you've tested them in a very secure fashion. And you'll also want to understand what exactly you're changing, and is it worth it for the maintenance costs long term? Because the whole point of the super chain is if we have all of these OP stack chains that have the same standard configuration, they can share a bridge on L1, and they can have kind of low latency, asynchronous, or potentially synchronous communications with each other. If you change a core component of the OP stack, there's a chance that maybe you disqualify yourself from the super chain or aren't as easily able to be added to it unless it's upstreamed. So we always want to walk through customizations with teams. We can support it on the back end. It's just not available through the UI. But we're always happy to work with people who are adding pre-compiles or pre-deploys or wanting to support some breakthrough for their use case. We got 5 minutes left here, guys. I want to show you guys the browse rollups page. You can think of this as like our directory page of all the rollups on Conduit. So these are all of our verified ones. These are kind of our larger mainnets and testnets. You can see here for a superchain member like Mode, I can click here. I can go to kind of their network card. So I get their RPC, I get their WebSocket, I get their Explorer, I get a full guide to run a node. I get an dedicated RPC and API keys. You can see the contract addresses and rollup configuration here as well. So you get kind of like, it's like a network's business card. And so every rollup gets this on Conduit, whether it's your testnet or your mainnet. And then you can see the long tail here as well of testnets that are public and have made themselves public, but are not necessarily verified yet and wanting to go fully on the offensive and be positioned up top. So we can see Zora down here as well. You get the same exact information for them. RPC, WebSocket, Block Explorer, all the utils and configuration addresses, as well as dedicated API and RPC keys for the rollup. So it's one of my favorite pages, not only scrolling through the big names up here, but also going down here and finding different things that people are building. You can see Superseed, an upcoming member of the super chain that we're really excited about. They've got their testnet down here. Yeah, I think that's the directory page. Any other questions here, guys, in the last couple of minutes? I think also I'll generally be available and we'll have Conduit team members who are keeping an eye on the Discord. So if you have any questions or want to go back and forth on ideas on what to build, we're happy to help. I think our main takeaway for today is we wanted to show you how easy it is to deploy your own OP stack rollup on Conduit. And we want to make sure that you use the coupon code for the hackathon. So use codes, all caps, Superhack 2024 to deploy your testnet. Don't pay for a testnet unless you want to, and unless you want to do it a couple months down the line. But save some money, get a rollup out there, see how easy it is, and build something awesome on top of it. Because we do have $10,000 in prizes available for the top 3 rollups built on Conduit during the event. So should be a lot of fun. Hope to see some really cool things built.
Great. That was good, Forrest. Really interactive. I've not seen a workshop this interactive on chats. Super good. Is there any concluding thoughts, Forrest? Do you want to continue, or any Q&A which is paused, and do you want to resume? We have 2 minutes more.
I mean, if anyone has any questions, please ask them. Speak now or forever hold your peace. But I think as far as Conduit goes, check out our website, conduit.xyz. There are a lot of resources on there to read about rollups, read about some of the work we've done with other folks. We have awesome blog posts for both the OP stack and the super chain that we've done in the past, as well as that we have coming out in the next couple of weeks. Stuff about key ceremonies and handing off and what shared security looks like. So some cool work coming up there. So I'd say follow us at Conduit XYZ on Twitter as well. And yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much.
Sweet. Thank you, Forrest, for joining us today and for the great presentation. Big thanks to everyone for joining the workshop. Feel free to connect with Forrest in the partner channel on Discord if you have any question, and I'm sure he'll get back to you all. Cheers, everyone, and have a great rest of the week. See you all. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining.